Godzilla 2014 is another in a long history of Godzilla movies, most of which have been Japanese. It stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Ken Watanabe, Sally Hawkins and BRYAN CRANSTON. The movie is written by Dave Callahan, Max Borenstein, Frank Darabont and David S. Goyer, based on the Godzilla character created by TOHO Co Limited. Cinematography is by MCGARVEY and music is by Alexandre DESPLAT. Godzilla 2014 is directed by Gareth Edwards, the man who directed Monsters and Rogue One. What's the story? The opening credits is a montage of old legends, Darwin evolutionary theory, news clippings and stock footage of nuclear tests in the Pacific. These images lead us to believe that the US military wanted to kill Godzilla with their nuclear tests. In 1999, a helicopter owned by the Monarch Company flies over the Philippines jungle to a mining quarry. Out of the helicopter steps Dr. Ishiro Serizawa, played by Ken Watanabe, and his assistant Vivian Graham, played by Sally Hawkins. Dr. Ishiro is led down into a collapsed cavern that houses the bones of a huge ancient monster. They also find what appear to be egg sacs, and one is missing. On the surface there is a trail of broken trees leading to the ocean. Joe Brody, played by BRYAN CRANSTON, is an engineer that works at the nuclear power station in Janjira, Japan. He works at the plant alongside his wife Sandra, played by Juliette Binoche. Their young son is called Ford, played by CJ Adams. Joe is worried about seismic tremors that could affect the nuclear plant. There is nothing unusual about seismic tremors in Japan, but these tremors are different because they are regularly occurring in a pattern. Joe is so caught up in his work that he misses the birthday banner his son has made for him. Disappointed, Ford goes off to school. While at the plant, Sandra and her team suit up and head for the reactor. On their way there is a giant tremor and a cloud of irradiated gas escapes. Joe waits until the last moment, but he has to trap Sandra and her team inside the plant in order to stop the gas cloud escaping and contaminating the town. This effectively condemns Sandra and her team to death. Ford witnesses the destruction of the nuclear plant from his classroom window. 15 years later, Ford, now played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, has joined the military. He is a bomb disposal expert for the Navy. Back from a mission, he jumps out of a chopper back home in San Francisco. Ford is welcomed home by his wife, Elle, played by Elizabeth Olsen, and his 5-year-old son, Sam, played by Carson Bold. After putting Sam to bed, Ford and Elle's cuddling is interrupted when the phone rings. It's the Japan police informing Ford that his father has been arrested for trespassing. Sometime later, in Tokyo, Ford arrives at the police station to bail his father out. When they get to Joe's apartment, Ford finds the walls plastered with research. It seems that Joe has spent the last 15 years obsessing about the nuclear accident. The area around the plant is quarantined, and this is why Joe was arrested when he tried to get in. Despite Ford's reservations, he is persuaded to go and visit his old home near the nuclear plant. This is because Joe has discovered that the exact same seismic frequency from 15 years ago is being heard again. They arrive wearing contamination suits, yet the devices they carry prove there is no radiation, which is strange. Joe collects some old computer discs and family photos, but then the police arrive and they are taken away. Instead of being taken back to the police station, they are taken to the power plant, which is a hive of activity. At the heart of the old plant is a gigantic animal cocoon of some sort. Dr. Ishiro and Vivian are at the plant, and they seem to be running things for Monarch. They overhear Joe ranting inside the interview room. Joe claims that whatever is inside the cocoon is emitting an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and when it goes off, it will send everyone back to the Stone Age. We learn the cocoon has been sucking the radiation from the power plant all these years. Worried that Joe's prediction may come true, Dr. Ishiro orders the cocoon be electrocuted. Unfortunately, this has the opposite effect, and a giant cockroach monster emerges from the cocoon. The EMP emitted knocks out all electrical devices, including the locked door to Joe's interview room. Joe goes out to take a look, but he gets caught up in falling steelwork. Ford is also there, and he witnesses the monster sprout wings and takes off. The next morning, the US military arrive and evacuate Dr. Ishiro and his team. This now includes Joe and Ford because they have information that could be useful. Unfortunately, Joe dies in transit from his injuries. The helicopter with everyone on it lands on the US Saratoga in the Japan Sea. The military is calling this creature a Muto, a massive unidentified terrestrial organism, and they are instructed to hunt and kill it. Leading the hunt is Admiral William Stentz, played by David Strathairn. In a briefing, Ford is given the backstory by Vivian. In 1954, an American submarine first encountered Godzilla. The nuclear tests in the area were their attempts to kill it. These Mutos love radiation, and they have been buried deep underground trying to absorb the radiation given off by the Earth's core. Monarch was established to research the phenomenon. There were some parasites found in the Philippines. In 1999, one of them burrowed its way to the nuclear plant in Japan and caused the plant's destruction. The parasite has been there ever since, feeding off the plant's radiation, until it emerged the previous day. They could not have killed it earlier because they did not know if the radiation would leak and cause a hazard to everyone. Ford tells Vivian what he knows and then leaves on a helicopter to fly to Honolulu. Dr. Ishiro believes that Godzilla is the apex predator and he will restore balance by killing the other Muto. Exactly how he reaches this conclusion without any shred of evidence is unclear. Strangely, when the seismic data is analysed, it looks like the Muto has been talking to another one. In the command centre, we watch a Special Forces team land in the Honolulu mountains. They come across a missing Russian nuclear submarine and the Muto is feeding on the reactor. When fighter jets arrive, the Muto creates an EMP to cause them to crash. Power to the city of Honolulu also goes out, but only for a short while. Meanwhile, a tidal wave comes in from the ocean and sweeps hundreds of people away. The wave precedes Godzilla, who now reveals himself or herself fully for the first time. Godzilla demolishes buildings as he passes through the city, and bullets have no effect on him at all. Ford is not having much luck either. He is babysitting a lost kid, and the monorail he is riding gets destroyed by the Muto. The Muto finally meets Godzilla at the airport, and all kinds of planes, helicopters and property is destroyed. The next morning we learn that the dormant parasite left in the Philippines mine has come to life and escaped. Someone suggests that this Muto is on the way to look for nuclear waste. In no time at all the military is at the Yucatan nuclear waste facility, but it's too late. The Muto has bitten a chunk out of the mountain and snacked on the nuclear waste. The Muto then leaves a trail of destruction through Las Vegas on its way to San Francisco. We can see that this Muto is 3 times larger than the male and has no wings. The military wants to use nuclear weapons on the Mutos, but this decision does not please Dr. Ishiro because his father died in Hiroshima. Dr. Ishiro is betting on Godzilla saving the day. Ford hitches a ride on a military plane and gets dropped off in Lone Pine, California. At this precise moment we see 2 nuclear missiles being transported on trains. These missiles have been brought out of mothballs because they have clockwork detonators, and so cannot be affected by an EMP blast. Luckily, Ford knows how to arm a clockwork nuclear missile, and is even better at it than the experts the military sent along with the missiles. So Ford manages to get himself a ride on the train transporting the missiles. Meanwhile, Elle has taken her son into work with her at the hospital in San Francisco. When Ford finally calls Elle, he tells her to stay put and he will come for her. Later that night the train halts because the track ahead is not clear. There is something going on beyond the next tunnel and they can't tell what it is. Ford and another soldier go to investigate and they encounter the female Muto. She appears to have a belly of glowing eggs on her. The Muto knocks the train off the bridge and she starts to eat one of the nuclear missiles. When Ford wakes up the next morning, he is the sole survivor of the train crash. Luckily, the surviving nuclear missile sustained no damage whatsoever when it fell off a 200-foot bridge into a rocky gorge, so the missile is hoisted up by a helicopter. What a shame they never thought to use a helicopter in the first place. In San Francisco, Elle sends Sam off to be evacuated while she stays at the hospital to wait for Ford. Unfortunately, the bus Sam is on gets stuck in traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge. Godzilla swims towards the bridge. As he passes underneath a warship, he knocks it and missiles are released by accident. These missiles slam into the bridge, destroying some of the supports. Everyone shoots at Godzilla, but this has little effect. Godzilla releases an EMP which causes warships to stop working and planes to drop out of the sky. The flying Muto arrives. It retrieves the second clockwork nuke from the military and goes into the city to meet with the female. After a quick beak kiss, the male gives the female the nuke. The military now have a problem. The nuke they wanted to detonate far out at sea has been taken into the city and will destroy it. The military must now send in a team to deactivate it. Because of the EMPs, this military team must drop into the city from a height of 30,000 feet in a halo jump, high altitude, low opening. A group including Ford make the jump that night and land in the city. Ford makes a perfect landing despite the fact that he is in the Navy and has probably never jumped out of a plane in his life. Elsewhere on the city streets, Elle is trapped between Godzilla and the male Muto. When the female Muto joins in the fight, the military team rush toward the nest of eggs. When they get to the nest, they spot the nuke at the centre, which has 27 minutes left before exploding. The military takes the nuke, and Ford stays behind to set the eggs on fire by using a petrol tanker nearby. Elsewhere, Godzilla finally kills the male Muto by crushing it with its tail against a building. Unfortunately, the building collapses on Godzilla, but he soon recovers. The nuke is taken aboard a boat, but the female Muto catches up with the military and attacks them. Ford is the only one left alive. He starts the boat and sets the autopilot, but an EMP shuts it down. Godzilla battles with the female Muto and finally kills her by breathing electrical fire down her throat. The boat restarts, but Ford is too exhausted to jump off. However, with just 5 minutes to go before the nuke explodes, another helicopter, apparently unaffected by the EMPs, arrives and takes Ford to safety. The nuke explodes remarkably far out at sea. The next day, Ford recovers from his injuries inside a sports stadium along with thousands of other citizens of San Francisco. Sam is with him, and he also reunites with Elle. Elsewhere in the city, Dr. Ishiro and Vivian arrive at Godzilla's body, but Godzilla is only sleeping. He wakes up, gets up, and strolls back out into the ocean. The TV reports on this with the tagline, "Godzilla, King of Monsters, Saviour of the City." The crowd cheers Godzilla as he disappears under the waves. Issues. If you were arrested by the police, would you really call your son living in another country to come and bail you out? This seems extremely selfish. If the creature that could kill everyone lives off electricity and radiation, why would you try to kill it using electricity? Isn't that the last thing you would want to use as a weapon? Joe's death is very premature, especially bearing in mind that he is the main character of the movie up until this point. Joe is the one with the mission to solve the puzzle of the nuclear disaster. Joe is the one with the motivation for revenge. His death causes the audience to reset and ask, so who's the main character now? Oh, I guess it must be Ford then. According to the scientists, the Mutos are older than the dinosaurs. So how do the Mutos know they should use their EMP blasts as a weapon? Is this a weapon that is likely to be of any use whatsoever in a time before the dinosaurs, when electrical devices had not even been invented? Bearing in mind that an EMP blast will actually fry electrical circuits, how is power restored to the revived nuclear facility, Honolulu, the boat that transports the nuclear bomb, helicopters or anything else electrical? I'm not sure what purpose was met by having Ford look after the stray kid. It didn't add anything to Ford's character, and these scenes had nothing to add to the story. What happened when Godzilla was fighting the male Muto in Honolulu? Godzilla is 3 times the size of the male Muto, and he breathes electrical fire. Why didn't Godzilla win? If all the female Muto craves is radiation, why would it leave the nuclear waste facility? There was plenty of radioactive waste left in the mountain. What is so attractive about San Francisco to a radiation-hungry monster that she would leave a compound full of nuclear waste to get there? Why does the female Muto end up in Las Vegas if she had just left the Yucatan nuclear waste facility on her way to San Francisco? Las Vegas is in the other direction. Does the Muto have a gambling addiction? Bearing in mind there is nothing but hundreds of miles of desert on either side of Las Vegas, why didn't the military nuke the female Muto when she was there? They could have dropped a nuclear bomb from a plane or launched a missile from a base, a silo or a warship. I know they were worried that the nukes might fail because of the EMPs, but you think they might have tried, bearing in mind what was at stake. Why does Ford tell his wife and child to stay in San Francisco? There are 3 huge monsters on the way there, heading for a showdown, and he is riding a train to San Francisco with 2 nuclear missiles on it. Does San Francisco sound like a safe place to be? Can you think of anything more irresponsible to tell your wife and child? Why does it take 15 years for the male Muto to hatch from a cocoon, yet the female, which is 3 times bigger than the male, is able to hatch, grow to full size and be ready to mate in days? How exactly did the Mutos mate anyway? All that we see is that they have a little beak kiss, and that's it. Was this enough for the female to be able to produce thousands of eggs? It seems unlikely. If they were trying to kill Godzilla back in 1954, where has he been hiding all these years? And how the heck has he not been spotted by anyone, on a boat, on the coast, or by satellites? I lost count of the times Ford gets picked up by a helicopter. Is it 4, 5 or 6 times? Wasn't there anything else the writers could think of to get Ford where he needed to go? Why didn't the female Muto pick the second nuke up from the train wreck site? There was nothing stopping her. If Godzilla can breathe electrical fire, why doesn't he use this weapon a lot sooner in his battles with the Mutos? He doesn't use it in Honolulu, and he doesn't use it in San Francisco until right at the end of the movie. Why not? Why is Godzilla treated as a hero? Didn't he cause a tidal wave that killed thousands? Didn't he create an EMP that knocked planes out of the sky? Didn't he fight 2 monsters and kill thousands more in the carnage? Review. Godzilla 2014 is a reasonably good action/monster movie, but it has a convoluted plot and the switch of the main character is hard to overcome. The acting is fine, the effects are good, and so is the cinematography and music. My rating, 83%. Hi, this is Mike Kendall, and thanks for watching my video. I'd like to know what you thought of this movie. Was it a hit? Was it a flop? Let me know your thoughts and rating in the comments section. You can also tell me what other movies you'd like to see reviews for. Please like and subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell for all my new videos. Sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter would help me out a lot. I'd sure appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel. We're adding more all the time. I'm off to see a movie. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.